Hello everyone, Malacite here, bringing you a video on how to prepare yourself for the Dark Zone in Tom Clancy's The Division.
Check it out.
So, first off the list, you're going to want to know what weapons to bring inside the Dark Zone, the game's PvP area. The main thing to focus on, in my personal opinion, are be submachine guns and marksmanship rifles. So you have 5 basic weapons in this game: assault rifles, marksman, light machine gun, shotguns, and SMGs. Now, the main reason you want the SMG and the marksman rifle is because of the native bonuses that they have with them. So in the case of marksman rifles, which I'll demonstrate right here, specifically the higher damage, lower magazine kinds, because there's 2 kinds. There's versions like the Scar H, which have more bullets but less, and a higher rate of fire but less damage. And then you have basically these more guns like this classic M44 carbine that are more single shot, bolt action, and deal a ton of damage. All marksmanship rifles regardless have that bonus headshot damage multiplier on them, but these ones specifically have much higher base damage, so you're going to do a lot more headshot damage. Because now this is obviously up to personal preference. You can go, if you would prefer having the higher rate of fire ones just to tag more enemies, or if you're not that confident in your aim, by all means, go for the higher rate of fire ones. Personally, I would recommend these though. They're also pretty nasty in taking down just AI enemies in the Dark Zone. Now, since I don't have one on me, I'm just gonna run to the shop so I can show you guys real quickly.
You'll be missing out. Best in the bar
and
right
this
here.
is why SMGs are insane. Right there. Submachine gun critical hit chance plus 14%, just for having the weapon equipped. A huge thing in this game is that by default you have 0% chance to critical hit.
Another day.
There are skills that you can equip, namely the pulse skill, that'll increase your critical hit chance, but otherwise you cannot crit. Now, from my experience in the beta, there was a particular weapon I was able to get a hold of. It was a purple, roughly rank 10-ish, only level 8, but its crit rate was well over 30%. Now the level cap for this game is 30, so once you get up there, I imagine the base crit rate for high-end weapons at level 30 probably be in the neighborhood of 50% or more. This is gigantic. Whereas, see, most games are dominated usually by assault rifles just because of their overall stats, high damage, good range, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. And that's somewhat true here too, because they have higher base damage, which means if you have a high firepower stat, firearm stat, your damage will go up even more. However, again, with submachine guns, because of that critical hit chance, I don't know what the base multiplier is, but you're going to be doing a ton of damage on those crits. And more to the point, you have this. You can get gear that increases critical hit damage, further increasing the multiplier. A lot of this game is done usually sitting in cover in fairly close range too, so the drop-off is not that big a concern. The SMGs are going to demolish other players in PvP. Now, PvE is a different story. You may want to take something with more range like an assault rifle, or maybe with more bullets like a machine gun, just because the AI is pretty brain dead. But at the same time, SMG is also nice for hammering people who get too close to you. Now, as for perks and talents, there's a few things that really stand out. I'm going to say this straight up front: most of the tech stuff is garbage. Let's scroll over here to the talents. So, first one's Tactical Advance. Complete a cover-to-cover move, increase your weapon damage by 2% per meter covered for 10 seconds. Not very useful. You're not going to be moving from, specifically, this is when you're already in cover and you're performing a cover move to another one. So, at best, let's say you're going to average maybe 10-15 meters at the most, and that's not likely to happen, so that's going to get you, it's going to get you squat. Oh, okay, the 10 meters has a 20% boost, but only for 10. It's really not that big a deal, and you're not going to want to be moving around too much in combat. So this is not a great perk. The second perk, okay. Demolition Expert. Kill a hostile with an explosion to increase explosion damage by 40% for 15 seconds. Seems okay, especially with the sticky bomb upgrades. probably not that good in PvP though. Then we have Fear Tactics, applying shock to targets with a 30%. Okay, so this gives you a 30% chance to AoE any shock effects. Not bad, but not great, but there's much better perks. Kill a hostile with any skill for a 25% chance of auto-refilling ammo types with your pit. Yeah, that could be decent for when you're running low, especially if you're in manhunt status, because you're gonna start running low on ammo pretty quickly. But again, there are much better perks, as I will demonstrate in a moment. So here we go again. During a cover-to-cover move, reducing damage, marginal, very situational, probably not that great. Healing a hostile while it skills, again, junk, more junk, and so-so. So the tech talents as a whole are pretty worthless. Now, the medical stuff, on the other hand, this is where stuff gets crazy. Healing an ally to reduce your skill cooldowns by 15% is pretty huge. That's going to allow for more group heals, or more, you know, or if you're like a hybrid thing, you can heal somebody, then you'll get your grenade launcher back, and so on. This is massive as well. Using a med kit when you're not at full health over heals you. This can save your life in a fight. Yeah, shock and awe, not so great. I mean, it can be okay, but there's better. This is one of the biggest ones right here, is Battle Buddy. Revive a downed agent to reduce incoming damage by 50% for 10 seconds for both players. This is absolutely massive, especially if you're playing to go rogue. One of your buddies goes down, you get to them, you get them up, suddenly you both have 50% damage resistance. That's going to make you a hell of a lot harder to kill. So needless to say, this is a must-have. Critical save. Use a medkit during low health to increase damage resistance by 40%. Again, another insane perk for PvP in the Dark Zone. This is going to save your life. Okay, applying AoEing bleed. Enough said. Decent, but there's better. This is an interesting one. Strike Back. Reach low health to reduce active skill cooldowns by 20%. This will probably come into play fairly often. It's hard to gauge right now if that's good or not. It could, if with a lot of skill haste, I could see this being pretty broken. But just on the surface, it seems alright. And here's a huge one. Using a medkit to AoE heal. This is going to save your entire team's ass in a firefight, especially if you're going manhunt, where everybody in the board can see where you are at all times. So the next big ones are in the security. This is pretty damn good in my opinion. Entering cover to reduce your recoil by 25% for 10 seconds. I don't know that it's worth taking over some of the medical upgrades, but it's definitely worth experimenting with. Killing a hostile, reduce damage. Oh, while moving, sorry. This is actually in particular fairly good with SMGs because with hip fire accuracy, but as a general rule, you want to stay in cover. So I don't know. I can't say how good that'll be. It could be alright. I'm not. Tough call there. Explosion. This is huge. Damage multiple hostiles with an explosion to apply 40% more damage from the blast. You take this ability combined with the sticky bombs upgrade, which gives, where is it? Yeah, with the BFB. So you have an even bigger explosion dealing more damage. It's just massive collateral damage. So if you have a very high electronics skill power rating, definitely consider this. This is massive. This is alright. Being able to pulse enemies so you can see where they are. I don't know if this stacks with the actual pulse passives though, of dealing more damage and being able to crit them more. If that's the case, this could be pretty good. It's one of those things I just have to do some trial and error with. I'll experiment with later when I get higher level. Excuse me. Reach low health to increase blind fire accuracy by 20%. Not that great. Suppressing a hostile to increase headshot damage. Kind of pointless because if they're suppressed, they're not going to come out of cover anyway. Might be okay with against the AI, not really going to do much against other players. This is the final really big one. And this is one I have yet to test. But this gives you a 50% chance to recover a bullet on a headshot. This is going to hinge entirely, though, on whether you keep the bullet in your magazine or in your reserve. Because if it doesn't use up the bullet out of your mag, this is going to mean more shots fired, more DPS, easier kills, on top of saving ammo, just all around insane. And even if it doesn't work that way, it's still a very good perk. But it could possibly be nuts. And then finally, kill the hostile with the sidearm to receive 30 rounds for your primary ammo. Kind of useful in the dark zone if you can't get to a safe house, but no. The main thing here are the medical perks and a couple of these security ones. As for skills, again, this largely comes down to personal preference. The two biggies here, in my opinion, are the sticky bomb and the first aid. I have not gotten a chance to play around, obviously, with the other tier, with the other high-end perks. I'll get to that at some point. But for now, based on experience in the beta and just how the stats operate, the sticky bomb is crazy. It's a pocket grenade launcher. Like, what do you want, right? Like, what more do you need? You can potentially bleed people. At least in the beta, it was one-shotting people like crazy. I don't know if Massive has toned it down since then. I don't think so. Pretty damn effective, especially with that 40% extra damage perk if you hit multiple targets. And then the first aid is, again, self-explanatory. You heal yourself, you heal your teammates, you keep everybody going in the fight. You can only carry so many med kits at a time, and you're gonna run out. This is just an all-around amazing skill to have. Pulse is worth considering, though, because it'll reveal enemies around you, and more importantly, with the second, I believe with the second, no, the scrambler, yes, with the no, where is it? Oh no, yeah, there we go. Yeah, okay, it is lost. The tactical scanner, sorry. Damage is increased when attacking any hostile targets identified by the pulse scan. So this not only reveals them and gives you the critical hit chance and critical hit damage up, it just straight up increases your base weapon damage too. So you're just going to be doing more and more damage. The only problem with that is they may or may not be running Scrambler, so which will negate your Pulse entirely. I don't know. Pulse is one of those really cool skills that can actually swing fights at times, but I prefer to go with reliability. This is one I've been experimenting with as well, the smart cover. This is interesting, although it's somewhat, well, okay, it's not really selfish if you're all hiding behind the same cover, but that's generally inadvisable in the dark zone. You do not all want to be behind the same cover if you can help it, just so you don't get flanked. But this is a pretty strong skill. It reduces the damage you take and increases the damage you send out. It also lasts a pretty good duration, like 30 seconds by default, not bad. That can seemingly be eternity in a huge firefight as well. So, and for the perks are mostly passive. They don't really affect PvP a whole lot, and I haven't gotten around to pumping up the main skills yet. So, like I said, I'm gonna put more content out as we go. But the main takeaways here: try to get a really good SMG, but so you can get a strong critical hit build going. Get us, and keep a good sniper rifle, just so you can pick people off at long range. Mid-range combat really isn't that big of a deal in this game. Your skills can be used to easily zone people out. Machine guns just have so much potential burst damage. It's not gonna matter. People will not want to get close to you. Shotguns will be irrelevant because of that. I mean, it's pretty much suicide to charge somebody who's behind cover with a shotty to try and get them. I don't see them working out that well in this game compared to others. Alright, so that's going to be about it for now. Until next time, guys. Have fun.